some peace of mind. But TikTok said a gator drove a Jeep through the blinds. Florida man's at it again with fireworks and a goat. And someone married a ghost in a Dollar Tree coat. Hey, what in the Walmart rapture is going on? Aliens dancing in a Waffle House song. Karen's got a taser in the checkout line. And Dr. Oz just adopted birds to fight off crime. Oh, I'm just sitting here scrolling, my jaw on the floor. The internet's a circus and I can't take no more. Yeah, when it's wildin', there's a raccoon in the sink. Someone robbed a Wendy's just to steal a frosty drink. A pastor's gone viral yelling about the end is near, while folks ride hoverboards in wedding gear. Yeah, what in the Walmart rapture is this mess? Florida's a movie, but it's filmed in VHS. Someone fed meth to a squirrel named Dave, and now he's in a cage just throwing rave. I'm just
Good morning, everyone. We've got tons of news, final form Jesus stories, and Lord Chippy. And I do think that we might have found the king monster and monstress, at least for this week, or at least for today, because honest to goodness, we don't have a shortfall on evil, if you can imagine. That being said, we also have some really good stories, so thank you all for joining. Let's get some hellos going. Thank you, Wolfram, for being the best Modly mod. Colorado Mountain Girl, good morning. Audio Coffee, and Denise, good morning. Lurking Meowth, and Tammy, welcome. So our first story is that we do now at least have an ID on the Texas Target shooter. Unfortunately, this particular incident did lead to the loss of life of 3 people, including a child. But we now do have at least an ID as to who this person was. Authorities in Texas have named a suspect who was accused of fatally shooting 3 people outside of a Target store in Austin. Now, police have arrested 32-year-old Nathan Nineker in connection with the shooting after he allegedly fled the scene in a stolen car on Monday, August 11th, per the Austin Police Department. Now, one of the victims was a child. This is coming out of KFOX TV. Now, he faces multiple charges of capital murder by terror threat, capital murder of a person under 10 years of age, and first-degree murder. And that's all, again, from the KFOX TV station. Now, the identity of the victims has not been released, and there will probably have very scant reporting until a lot of the court documentations and investigative, things are filed. Now, on Monday, Austin Police Chief Lisa Davis confirmed that the suspect does have a mental health, issue history, but didn't discuss that any further. He also has a history of alleged violence, including against family members. Now, a Facebook profile matching his description and using his name shows post where he suggests that basically a bunch of internet culture stuff. People are looking through all of his digital footprint, so his Facebook and everything, and they're trying to read the tea leaves of that. As always, I'm not your mom. I'm not going to tell you what to do, but wait for more confirmed or established, if the warrant comes back on his Google account and we can make some, observations there. But trying to discern through tea leaves and your own personal lens what his social media history means could lead to a lot of speculation. So I'm not telling you not to do it. I'm just saying, we could all read tea leaves. And thank you so much, Christine, for being a member for 21 months. Christine is one of the OGs. Wolfram, if you could put up a link to her channel. Christine also has a channel and she does a lot of stuff. I'm afraid that trying to get everything going, I haven't been able to keep up with everyone's streams, but I hope to get all of that going very soon. And Everyone should head over today at some time. Captain Kern Makes is doing a lot of things right now to stand up for cancer. Cancer sucks all the balls. I have a family member right now who is really struggling, and we don't know how it's going to go. And not my story to tell, but cancer sucks all the ball sack. And we need to take care of that. And also, Wolfram, if you could put up Captain Kern's link, thank you so much. So check those two out. They are awesome. And we all need to stand up to cancer because, well, it sucks. It just does. It just does. Well, I have no idea what to make about this, but apparently we have another shooting incident, but apparently this was over alleged stolen valor. Now, a Seattle gunman, Gregory Tim, who crashed a car into a Trump voter registration. I'm not going to get into the here or there of political. I was just looking at stolen valor. But basically, he's accused of shooting a man in a wheelchair over stolen valor and wearing a golf cap and having a spider web on his elbow. I mean, I have no idea. Now, the alleged gunman who plowed his car into a voter registration drive is accused of shooting a wheelchair-bound man from Washington in his chest point blank for allegedly stolen valor. Now, the chaos unfolded in downtown Seattle along a popular Alaskan Way boardwalk on July 31st, when the suspected shooter, Gregory Tim, allegedly confronted a 68-year-old about his military service. KOMO News reported. Now, prosecutors allege that Tim, 32, demanded to see the victim's military ID and removed a patch from his belongings moments before the shooting. Now, this prompted the victim to first unholster what investigators identified as an airsoft gun, according to video obtained by the outlet. Now, at this point, Tim stepped back, reached into his bag, and aimed a real pistol at the victim. Now, startled bystanders started shrieking when they realized that it looks like two force multipliers were out at the same time. Tim's, though, having the real force multiplier, stood and fired one into the victim's chest, sending onlookers, including families with children, scattering to try to find cover. "It's all right, everyone," Tim shouts as he racks back the pistol. "Show me your ID," he yells at the victim with the gun down by his side. "Pull an effing force multiplier on me." So it looked like both of them were pulled weapons on each other. Now, where this is going to go, I don't know. Now, Tim's then put his force multiplier back in his bag and shouted at the wounded victim to put his away. Now, in a second video, the alleged gunman then raises his hands into the air and apologizes to the startled bystanders for shooting the man. A polite shootist, if you will. Now, Tim was arrested by officers at the scene without incident and charged in King County with first-degree assault, a Class A felony. Now, he is being held on $750,000 bail. Now, the victim is a regular on the boardwalk, known for playing music and, quote, spreading good vibes, end quote. He was rushed to the hospital in serious but stable condition. Now, according to court documents obtained by local news, just before firing his shot, the victim allegedly pulled out a knife and then the airsoft gun. Now, Tim's defense attorney argues that his client acted in self-defense because the victim pulled a weapon on him first. However, King County prosecutors said Tim was the aggressor in the incident. "If you're the one who's the first aggressor who provokes an altercation, you lose the right to claim self-defense effectively under state law," said a spokesperson for King County Prosecuting Attorney's Office. So this is looking like we're going to have a self-defense case. So this might be one that Bronca is going to look at. He usually is very, very knowledgeable about the self-defense things because that's his bread and butter. So if he does cover this, I would encourage you to go there for his wisdom. This is a pretty common thing. In fact, it is kind of the issue that lays at the heart of the Carmelo Anthony case, because people are saying that, his right to self-defense was also imperfect. Now, that case, Look, the Carmelo Anthony case, I understand it's super duper political. I'm probably not going to be covering it uh, unless I can do it with, the full knowledge that I ain't politicalizing anything. I'm just watching the trial. But we have until 2016 for that. So this does look like it's going to be another case that's going to really focus on what is self-defense, what are the proper terms, what can you do, what can't you do. And this might be an interesting case coming up if you like these kind of cases going with self-defense. Interesting, it happened in Seattle where I didn't think you could actually have a force multiplier. But I mean, that's my Midwestern take on things. I've never actually been to Seattle, so I could be wrong. That being said, possibly just don't be a jackass. If people just left each other the hell alone, the world would be a lot better place. But because people don't leave each other alone, someone got rescued, so it swings and roundabouts as well. A man lost 9 days living off of dirty pond water was rescued after, well, rescuers spotted his help carved into a rock. Okay. I mean, that's pretty small. If you're in a helicopter, I don't know if you'd be able to see that help. A missing man miraculously survived 9 days in the Canadian wilderness, living off of dirty pond water, before he was finally found thanks to a giant help that he carved into a rock. Andrew Barber, 39, was found Friday when a helicopter spotted his sign, as well as an SOS on the ground, more than a week into the search that was sparked by his truck breaking down in a remote part of British Columbia's vast Caribou region. The trained survivalist, who ironically has "I'm still here" tattooed on his arm, was found sheltering under a makeshift mud lean-to next to signs. He sustained some injuries and was severely dehydrated. We found him at the right time, Staff Sergeant Brad McKinnon of the Williams Lake RCMP told Vancouver Island Free Daily. Now, he was having a hard time standing, Bob Zimmerman, president of Quesnel Search and Rescue, told the CBC. We don't know that he would have made it another 24 hours without us recovering him. I mean, he has a good chin line. Like, that is a strong jawline. That's how he survived. He cut the firewood on that jawline. If you can't tell, it was raining most of the night, so it has been a long morning already. Now, it's not clear why he was in the Caribou region, a boggy, mostly rural part of the country north of Vancouver that is beautiful but immense. He was reporting missing on July 31st, but last seen 3 days before that. Now, luckily, he did have the skills to survive without supplies of food or clean water because he has an above average, understanding of the wilderness. But even he had his skills well tested. He was literally slurping unclean pond water to stay hydrated. The human body can go a long time without food, but water is a different situation. Now, McKinnon said Barber desperately munched on whatever he could find while he waited for help to arrive. Barber was airlifted to the Caribou Memorial Hospital, where he is expected to make a full recovery. So that is good that we get some good stories as well. And I'm glad he had the skills to understand how he was supposed to survive, because you leave me out in the wild, I am no Bear Grylls. I am looking for a bar and grill, not a Bear Grylls. That being said, here's something that we'll probably start seeing. Now, again, this will be a civil case, but this is very big and it intersects with sports ball. So this might be something that's going to be a big thing for law and crime in the future, or as Sarah Boone would say, futuristically. Shohei Ohtani and his agent are accused of sabotaging a $240 million Hawaiian real estate deal in a shocking lawsuit. A Hawaiian real estate investor and brokers are suing Shohei Ohtani, claiming that the Los Angeles Dodgers star and his agent got them fired from a $240 million luxury housing development on the Big Island's coveted Hapuna Coast that they brought him in to endorse. Now, according to the lawsuit filed in Hawaiian Circuit Court on Friday, Otani's agent, Nels Baleo, was increasingly demanding concessions from developer Kevin H. Hayes Sr. and real estate broker Tomoko Masamoto before demanding that their business partner, Kings Barn Realty Capital, drop them from the deal. So essentially, it seems like he was brought on as sort of the sports ball star to kind of endorse this real estate deal. And he and his partner decided to Blake Lively these two out of it. So he's like, you don't want to work with them. And his agent's like, you don't want to work with them. Have me. I mean, so this does seem like it's all the shady. I don't have enough knowledge in real estate law and all of that, but I do expect this to be something that the talking heads on Court TV, Law and Crime, and other, kind of more civil-minded lawyers on LawTube might be covering this, and I do like to keep you guys kind of up to date on what might be going on in the true crime, LawTube, LayTube adjacent world. So this might be a big one coming up. That being said, it's super duper boring and I don't understand all of it, so not gonna really, continue jabbering about it. Because we have, and oh my Bob Ross, do we have some final form, are we living in the Walmart rapture final form Jesus stories today? Just the cream of the crop. I don't get it, but every day the final form Jesus does provide the stories of internet crazy. So let's get into those.
The G-Keep Grove, thou glowing shrine of thirst traps, scams, and dollar signs. We chant in tones both grim and low, for virtue fled a long time ago. Kyrie eleison, Christe descendat, final form Jesus return in wrath. With six-pack listening, sword in hand, he cometh swift to cleanse the land.
You are correct, JKD Buckmo. The Reverend Dr. Sarah Boone, Esquire, in third-party intervener twice removed, said a lot of meaningful things in her life that scholars still will grapple with for centuries. Some respect, please. Know that. Know that. She is such a cartoon character. If she wasn't so abhorrently evil, she'd be entertaining. Oh, you're allergic. Good. A woman unleashed a hive of bees on deputies and bystanders because she was angry about an eviction. Now, I just couldn't put her in with Lord Chippy because, a drive-by bee attack was just too funny. That being said, I also was like, did I read that correctly? So it had to go in final form Jesus. A woman is standing accused of setting beehives loose on law enforcement officers and nearby residents has been arrested nearly 800 miles away from where the crimes occurred. So she made like a bee and got the hell out of there. Rory Susan Woods, 57, stands charged with 4 counts of assault and battery, with a dangerous weapon, 3 counts of assault with a dangerous weapon, and 1 count of disorderly conduct, the Hampden County, Massachusetts Sheriff Office has announced. Now, it was the morning of October 12th, 2022, when the woman, also known as Rebecca Woods, drove an SUV hauling beehives to a home on Memory Lane in Longmeadow, Massachusetts. Now, an eviction was taking place at that moment, according to authorities, and it was the source of her anger. Now, Woods had allegedly removed and smashed the lids of the manufactured beehives, then flipped the hive off the trailer to make the bees extremely angry, pissed off, and aggressive. Yes, remember, bees like to be shaken, not stirred, if you're going to use them for assault purposes. If you have militarized bees, apparently shaking them and pissing them off is how you activate them. Who knew? Who knew? Now, the bees proceeded to swarm and sting the deputies and bystanders, the sheriff's office said, and made a note that some of those who were stung were allergic, and one employee with the sheriff's office had to be hospitalized because they had an allergic reaction. Now, when the officer told Woods that he and other deputies were allergic to bees, she allegedly replied with, "Oh, you're allergic? Good." Mass Live reported at the time. Now, the suspect had even donned beekeeper suits and carried another hive toward the home before being taken into custody. Oh, she was mobile. She had multiple attack hives. Now, photos from the arrest do show that she was in a beekeeper jacket with a face covering and an SUV that was blue with a trailer attached holding stacked bee boxes. Now, though Woods was arrested, she was released before her trial began, and after several delays, the trial was scheduled to begin on August 5th. However, Woods, who is representing, oh my God, please let this be streamed. Come on, somebody find me the bee lady stream. If anyone is in Massachusetts, if you know a local place that's covering this or did cover it, because holy crap, Petty Express, pro se beekeeper attacky. Could you, I mean, the world doesn't get much better than assault bee, a drive-by being trial. However, Woods, who is representing herself, reportedly pleaded not guilty and did not show up. Well, that's how hey, if you're pro se, you don't even acknowledge the court's authority to have you go to court. She is winning. A judge issued a non-bailable warrant for her failure to appear, and law enforcement began looking for Woods, the law enforcement agency said. Now, she was later arrested at a hotel in Kingsport, Tennessee on Thursday. Now, the eviction to which Woods allegedly took issue was a stop and go for the better part of 2 years, authorities said, following the fall 2022 attack. Hampden County Sheriff Nick Kochi said that they would prepare for protest over evictions, but a majority of the protesters understood that they were just doing their law or their jobs in accordance with state statutes. But this woman traveled here and put the lives of several of my deputies in danger because they're allergic to bees. We had one staff member go to the hospital, and luckily he was all right, or she would have been facing manslaughter charges. I support people's right to protest peacefully, but when you cross the line and you put my staff and the public in danger, I promise you'll be arrested. Now, she was arraigned in Tennessee and extradited back to Massachusetts to stand trial. So hopefully we get to see the drive-by being attack trial. Pro se beekeeper defendant, I need this in my life. Look, come on. We've been having way too much water and rain this summer. I need this in my life, okay? Well, we might have caught ET, y'all. A British man playing fetch with his dog might have actually accidentally recorded a possible UFO zooming through the air. I don't know. Do UFOs leave chemtrails? I don't know. I'm not up on my ufology. Or are they different things now? Are they crafts of an alien origin? I can't remember what we're supposed to use now. They both had the zoomies. A British man accidentally caught what is being called a possible UFO zooming through the sky in a video of his dog playing fetch at a scenic location in England. Andrew Clifton, 40, was tossing a frisbee to his 5-year-old Labradoodle named Labrador named Dash on Malvern Hills near Worcester on August 2nd, when an alleged object flashed in the sky, Gloucestershire Live reported. Now, the video played at full speed shows a slight flit appear under a cloudy sky, appearing for less than half a second. Well, let's see if we can do this. Let's see. I don't know. I'm just looking at the dog. Oh, Fry would have missed that. Okay, so we did see the little smooch, whatever it was. Huh. Interesting. Uh, so there we go. I mean, now, on a slow motion replay, the object appears tubular and missile-shaped with a blue-looking cap at its rear. Now, the clip was posted on a UFO Facebook group on X and has over 7 million views, SWNS reported. While some are certain that the object was alien technology, Clifton shared his opinion that the object could be high-tech military projects or something like that. Now, England's Royal Air Force Base our Air Force does have a base near this sort of area, so it could have been something that we just don't know. That being said, I do tend to binge UK news, and I think defense spending is not going great. So I don't know if they have like secret technology they're not sharing with the rest of the public, which would indicate secret. But UK, I don't know that you need to work on really super cool stuff. I think you, like everyone else, have more local problems at home. I don't know. Call me crazy. And possibly a story that I put in should not put in final form Jesus, but I think even Jesus would approve this, and saying that will probably get me struck by lightning. But I think that, table flipping Jesus would understand. In a news story, well, just guaranteed to warm your need for justice and just warm the cockles of your heart. Apparently, Brian Koberger is being tormented in prison. Thank you. Yes, Gen Pop Justice. And I helped, allegedly in Minecraft. Brian Koberger's fellow inmates have reportedly found a way to antagonize him despite the convicted, unaliver being in solitary confinement at Idaho's maximum security institution. Now, according to reports, a lot of them yell through the vents connected to his cell block and have even taken turns carrying out disruptive acts. Oh my gosh, the prisoners are learning to take turns and share. Sharing is caring. See, and here I've been skeptical that you could rehabilitate criminals. They're learning to work together to do a cause. Teamwork makes the dream work, boys. Brian Koberger is currently serving 4 consecutive life sentences at the correctional facility for the murders of the Idaho students. Aw, don't you just feel bad for this Manson-lamped Kubrick outcast? I mean, don't you? Now, just barely weeks into the start of his life sentences, Koberger is finding out that life in prison is harder than he imagined. Now, he is currently residing in solitary confinement in a cell in the IMSIJ block that restricts, and houses the most violent of offenders. Still, per a source that spoke with the Daily Mail, he has been the subject of a relentless taunting campaign by many inmates in the block. It's driving him crazy, said Chris McDowell, a retired homicide detective with Prison Connections. He noted that the inmates are tormenting him at night and almost all hours of the day, taunting him through the vents in his cell. They're literally getting up into the grate and yelling at him. Inmates are taking turns doing it. It's relentless. Now, according to McDowell, Koberger has been extremely annoyed and frustrated. Tell me more. I'm getting excited. Did it hurt you? Is your soul crying? Come on, details, details. Now, the former police officer also claimed that the convicted murderer has complained to prison officials about losing sleep because he's being taunted. Per the Department of Corrections website, he is one of the 535 violent male residents living at the institution right now. He is listed alongside Chad Daybell, the convicted gross guy who unalived children, his wife, and everything else. So there you go. I mean, and prison, according to this former officer, officials are likely not going to stop the inmates' antics because they don't pose a physical threat to Koberger while he remains in solitary confinement. Meanwhile, aside from the taunts from inmate, Koberger has had to adjust to the downsides of being in solitary confinement. He's only let out once a day for recreation. Cry me a river. This is just making me happy. Like, every time he's complaining, I'm like, and another angel has gotten his wings. So keep it up, criminals. We salute you. I'd never thought I'd say that, but you worked together, you saw an objective, and you understood the assignment. So good on you. That being said, I doubt that this is really going to do much to this man. you require feelings and empathy. Although, if he is as narcissistic as people claim, and I'm not a doctorologist, being taunted is really going to bother him. And I find that I don't really give a flying flapjack. Kind of hope it continues to happen. Bon voyage, Brian. Drop the soap or don't, but you'll be alone when you do it, like you were most of the times when you were doing that thing that God said would turn you blind. See, God saw you. Didn't even want to deal with that there. But there you go. The stories that make you wonder if we are living in the end times, a good one and a great one. Also, don't drive by be anyone. And another random story that I think shows that, well, the universe is healing, or at least in my opinion, I think that there could be a case by case rationale for doing this. Now, I understand that this is going to be the same principle that got the Crumblies in trouble, but at this point, we need some sort of solution to get some of our cities back. So if anyone has a better solution other than jailing parents whose children are out of control, then let me know, because I'm not, a doctorologist, but at this point, it seems like a commonsensical thing too. If you're not going to parent your child, then, the rest of us have to do it, and we're locking you up because we have to do your job. The kids aren't all right, and their parents won't be all right either. Now, moms and dads in a New Jersey suburb can be tossed in prison and fined if they're badly behaved children under a bonkers new ordinance that people say strip parents of their right and potentially sets a dangerous precedent. And I get that. I get that we are slowly marching toward collective punishment, but then we need to stop this ridiculous leniency that we give to youth offenders. So there needs to be some give and take. I don't want this to go on other people. I don't want this to be happening anymore. But unless we have some sort of solution that's going to work, what are we looking at? I don't know. This is what Gloucester, Township has thought of, and it is getting criticism on on several sides. Parents are feeling outraged. Alex Boer, chair of the Bergen County chapter of parents' rights groups, Mom for Liberty, told the Post Tuesday they're getting attacked from every angle. Now, basically, the new law in Gloucester Township passed late July is called the Minors and Parent Responsibility Statute, and stipulates that parents will be held accountable for public disturbances caused by their child and could go to jail for 3 months if their child is found guilty of multiple offenses. Jeff Montgomery, mowing the deep end. This falls in line with the news I saw earlier. New York City is closing the last hotel for migrants. They aren't enough in NYC. Interesting. Again, I'm willing to listen to any ideas, but things are getting crazy and kids are acting nuts. And you get a big mob of kids, just like you get a big mob of anything. You have a bunch of people who don't think beyond this exact minute and this exact thing. You don't think of consequences. We need to figure something. Well, MLS, I didn't agree with the Crumblies getting charged, but at this point, what are we supposed to do? I feel like this is a Band-Aid over a wound that we're not addressing. But I'm not very smart this morning. I didn't sleep well last night, so I can't figure out this problem of the world just right now. Give me like 10-15 minutes. I'm sure I'll come up with something. Now, the ordinance is a result of a massive brawl that broke out last year among a throng of 500 youths and minors. Now, Gloucester Township Day and Drone show. Interesting. Now, 11 people, including 9 teens, were arrested. 3 officers were also injured. Now, juvenile offenses that will fall under the new law are sweeping, and there are 28 in total, with disorderly person, immorality, destruction of playground equipment, and loitering joining the likes of assault, mugging, drunkenness, and drug dealing. Now, if a child is found repeatedly guilty in juvenile court, their caretaker could face up to 90 days in prison or a fine of up to $2,000. Police Chief David Harkins told NJ.com that the law consisted of general legal language and that parents would receive a warning first for their children's bad behavior. Our ordinance was actually sampled from other towns, Harkins said, referring to Jersey Shore's Wildwood, which has also seen a spate of crazy teen behavior. We're not necessarily the first, but we're probably the first bigger town to adopt this. Now, I'm just saying, if I acted crazy like some of these teens were, you would not be watching Mornings with Mo because I would be in the ICU unit, still being cared for by my disappointed mama. That being said, we're reaching a breaking point. So if someone else has really good ideas, this is what, Gloucestershire Township is going to try. I don't know that I agree with it, but I am kind of running out of solutions. So, if anyone has a big brain and solutions, then please come forward because I have not one daggone clue. Just not one. Now, she's not up enough to go to, well, she's ready for Snake Island, but not Lord Chippy. This chick.
It's a curse, we've got a rule for the wicked, the cruel, and the worst. If you lie, if you cheat, if your soul's made of bile, you're bound for the fangs and the venom in style. Oh, one-way ticket to Snake Island. Oh, let the conscience, less cowards and gaslighters go. No anchor, no lifeboat, no tearful goodbyes. Just hissing and coming in cold-blooded skies. Your friend.
A U.S. postal worker stole cards and checks from the mail to fund a lavish lifestyle tropical vacations that she flaunted online. Now, I don't know who I have to tell yet again, but we don't write about our crimes. We don't TikTok our crimes. We don't have a book of premeditation. We don't Insta our crimes. We don't Facebook our crimes. Whoever needed this, your defense attorney thanks you. A California postal worker allegedly stole credit and debit cards along with checks to fuel a lavish lifestyle that included luxurious tropical vacations and Rolex watches that she flaunted on social media. Mary Ann McDammit, you've got to be kidding me. No, it's actually there. McDammit. This must be a trial. I must watch it, and they must be made to say it all the time. Was a former letter carrier at the Torrance, Maine post office and admitted Monday to stealing mail containing checks, personal identification information, debit and credit cards from her job between 2022 and July 2025, according to the U.S. Attorney's Office. She would then activate the cards and make costly purchases, as you do. Now, the alleged mail thief also allegedly sold some of the cards to cult conspirators who helped her cash the stolen checks and create counterfeit identity documents in the name of the check's payee. Now, she proudly flaunted stacks of $100 bills that she had gained through stealing from unsuspecting citizens and luxurious goods, including a Rolex watch, on Instagram. In one photo, McDammit is wearing a Yankees hat and took a selfie as she held a stack of bills against her ear, resembling a cell phone. She also photographed money lying on her lap as she sat in her driver's seat. Now, prosecutors say that she used stolen cards on international trips to Turks and Caicos and Aruba, as you do. The photo was posted on the former postal worker's Instagram and shows her lounging by the pool with a glass of champagne on one of her many luxurious vacations. Now, in December 2024, law enforcement seized 133 stolen credit and debit cards and 16 U.S. Department of Treasury checks from her apartment. They also found an unserialized Glock clone pistol known as a ghost gun, which had an extended 27-round magazine. Now, despite the raid, the former postal worker remained free until July, when federal agents discovered she was still making purchases with victims' stolen cards. Good job, feds. You're doing a great job. Don't ever let anyone tell you you're working too hard. You did it. 10% of a half-assed job, that's our federal government. When I run for president, government officials will officially have to say that, like, we're from the government and we're here to do 10% of a half-assed job. Trademark. Now, she was arrested on July 1st. Agents searched her apartment again and discovered even more stolen credit cards. Now, she faces one count of conspiracy to commit bank fraud, where she faces up to 30 years in federal prison. Now, it's unclear if any of her co-conspirators have been arrested. And since this is going to be in federal court, this is not going to be televised. We might hear about what she was sentenced for, but because this is in federal court, we will probably not hear anything until sentencing about this case. Now, the Post has reached out to the U.S. Attorney's Office for the District of California for comment. In March, a former U.S. Postal Service worker in Washington, D.C., Hashkosela Muchibia, was convicted of stealing around $1.6 million in checks to fund a lavish lifestyle that included international travel, stays at luxury hotels, and purchases at gentlemen's clubs. Now, at the time of his arrest in September 2023, Muchiba was trying to flee to Zambia. Now, he had immigrated from the U.S. or from Zambia to the U.S. and was found guilty of conspiracy to commit theft by mail and bank fraud, theft of mail, bank fraud, engaging in monetary transaction in the property derived from a specified unlawful activity, and unlawful procurement of citizenship or naturalization. Now, he is also facing up to 30 years for the bank fraud charge and 5 years for the mail theft charge. So, again, feds, 10%, just the tip. Half-ass job. But now for the real monsters. And this first story, look, y'all, we're going to need a puppy kitten break after it because it is just horrifying. So that is your warning. I am going to put on the little sounder. It does involve a child. It is absolutely heartbreaking. But I don't generally give you guys warnings because Lord Chippy kind of implies these are not the best of the best. But this one is incredibly hard, so did want to give that warning out to you guys. But name and shame we shall, and slowly backwards and forward, Lord Chippy shall meet these people again and again.
They're our skin, they steal our grace. These monsters wear a human face. No gavel, no badge, no throne, no crown can stop Lord Chippy from burning them down. Justice ain't fast, justice ain't clean. It's a long, sharp road through the in-between. So raise your fists and light your flames. Chippy's coming and he don't play games.
Y'all, I had this one pulled yesterday, and I almost feel like this one needs just its own. Because honest to goodness, I could barely get through the headline before I was like, all right, who's going to be my huckleberry? I need a second, I need a third, and I got a 10-passenger van. We're going to take care of this, allegedly in Minecraft. This is why God did not give me superpowers, because it would be on like Donkey Kong. A mom's boyfriend, yes, this genetic weird Elvira from Timu that got melted in the sun, her boyfriend, this genetic dead end that should have, stayed on the Galapagos Islands over here, assaulted a toddler with a wooden paddle that was called, quote, the last resort, end quote, before she sold the still missing child for crystal. Again, why are we waiting? We have Florida, we have swamp puppies. I am done. There are, excuse me. There are new and horrifying allegations emerging about the tragic life of an Oklahoma toddler before she went missing after her mother allegedly sold her to a dealer named Carlos in exchange for crystal. Now, Ashley Rowland, 39, had previously been charged with child abandonment for the 2022 disappearance of her then 2-year-old daughter, London Kerr. And Kathy, thank you for being a member for 6 months. Thank you for being my huckleberry. I'm kind of hoping for them at this point, but I think I cover most of them on Lord Chippy, so I'm not sure that we aren't living in Raccoon City at this point. Now, police searched for London, and they allegedly uncovered just a cornucopia of horrific details about her life before she went missing. Now, as a result, both Roland and her 40-year-old boyfriend, Joshua Denton, are behind bars on additional charges. Now, Roland stands accused of 2 counts of enabling CA by injury and engaging in a pattern of criminal offenses. Denton faces 6 counts of CA and 1 count of daggone son of a hook, child grossness of a forcible thing, and they can probably prove it because he's Stephen Stern himself. But basically, they usually wouldn't put these specific acts unless they could actually prove it. I'm not going to read the acts out, but let's just say they're terrible. So forcible grossness on a child, lewd and indecent proposals or acts to a child, and engaging in a pattern of criminal offenses, according to records from the jail. Now, in addition, Roland's daughter, in addition to Roland's daughter, he's also accused of laying hands on his own, biological children. Now, according to a probable cause arrest affidavit, investigators spoke with Denton's kids who detailed disturbing allegations. His 15-year-old son alleged that Denton, beat London with a wooden paddle, shot her with a BB gun, and did other things. Now, authorities said they recovered a BB gun and a paddle that had "Last Resort" written on it in a storage unit that belonged to both Denton and Roland. The teen alleged that his father also laid hands on him as well as his older brother. Again, just horrific things like duct taping them to a chair and different things. Now, Denton allegedly threatened to take his son's own life and make him disappear if he told the police about what he had witnessed in the home. Now, Roland, this, Elvira that's been melted, allegedly witnessed all this going on and did nothing to help. Now, Denton's son said the last time that he saw baby London, she was with Denton and Roland in a car. Now, Roland allegedly told the boys to say goodbye to London before they drove off. He never saw her again. Now, Roland claimed that they were taking her to London's biological father's house. The affidavit doesn't include a date when this last sighting was. Now, Denton's younger children told police that their father poured hot sauce in London's eyes more than one time and would lock her in a closet. He also allegedly made her bite down on a hot pepper. Now, his daughter, aged 8, is the one that they have evidence that there was child grossness going on. So his own children, again, chuck them into the sun. We don't even need to waste time. Criminals like this benefit so greatly from our legal system. They just don't even understand that by using logic, by using the Magna Carta, by using, the legal system to take emotion out of this, to take what I would severely like to do to these people allegedly in Minecraft, and to have, check-marked items that a person has to do to label their crime in order to be convicted of it. These people benefit greatly from a system that they constantly abuse. It's maddening. Now, investigators interviewed Roland following her arrest in November, and she claimed that the aforementioned Carlos was London's biological father. Now, she said in mid-April 2022, she met up with Carlos in a parking lot and handed London over to him without any of her identification papers. Now, Roland claimed that Carlos was from Mexico and had no way of contacting him, and according to police. And welcome, Shizzy Raiders. You're in the middle of a Mo rant. But authorities questioned her timeline of when London would have been conceived, and Roland admitted she was in Georgia at the time with her then boyfriend, whom cops believe is now the girl's actual biological father. Now, police couldn't locate anyone named Carlos with the birthday that she'd given. Now, Law and Crime previously reported that agents with the Oklahoma Department of Human Services in April 2023 were tasked with taking custody of the toddler. Again, great job. Just a year after she's last been seen, you guys were hot on the trail. Agents located Roland at a residence in Moore, about 10 miles south of Oklahoma City. Authorities said they were later later able to determine that Roland was lying about the whereabouts of her daughter and contacted the Moore Police Department. Now, Roland allegedly said that she hadn't seen the child since giving her to Carlos, who was now selling her crystal at the time. Roland later said she was lying about Carlos being her pharmaceutical dealer, if you will. Now, Oklahoma DHS reportedly told KOCO that the department can't comment on the specifics of the case, but that the entire situation was heartbreaking and unimaginable. The search for London continues. If she was alive, she would be turning 6 years old next month. Oklahoma City Police Department has taken over the investigation as cops believe she was last seen in their jurisdiction. We don't have very credible information from the people that assumed responsibility or had custody of this child. So when we take over an investigation, we have to go back and look at what's already been documented. So time is of the essence, said Sergeant Dylan Quirk. Now, Roland and Denton remain in the Cleveland County Jail without bond. So this is an ongoing case. This is absolutely just heartbreaking. It is a terrible story and just gross, just absolutely disgusting and gross. And this next story is evil on a different level. It's the banality of evil. These two are obvious monsters, but this next one is just how not paying attention, how being oblivious when you're responsible, when you're, driving a boat can destroy a family. This is sort of the everyday evil of just not giving a shit, which I don't like anymore. A boater who wasn't looking when he slammed into swimmers, killing a 10-year-old had nearly 40 cans of beer in the vessel and is facing more serious charges per the DA. A North Carolina boater and his girlfriend, who allegedly crashed into a group of swimmers, taking the life of a 10-year-old girl and causing a woman to have her leg amputated, will be indicted for murder. Quentin Gregory Knight, 40, the driver of the boat, and his girlfriend, 56-year-old Anne Marie Flanagan, who owned the vessel, stand accused of second-degree murder in the death of Brooklyn May Carroll. Now, they were already facing charges of death or serious injury by impaired boating. Now, Knight was behind the wheel of the boat on August 2nd when he crashed into 3 swimmers about 100 feet offshore at the Sharon Harris Reservoir in Chatham County. The North Carolina Wildlife Resources Commissioner reportedly said. Now, the crash killed Brooklyn and caused the amputation of Jennifer Steele's left leg. Steele is the mother of one of Brooklyn's friends. Now, Flanagan was not driving the boat, nor was she under the influence of alcohol at the time of the crash, but she was aware that Knight was drunk, prosecutors allege. She also wrote a misleading statement that claimed she didn't witness the crash and only came to the scene after she was called. Now, Brooklyn's family released the following statement. We have been informed that 2 people have been charged with a second-degree murder in relation to Brooklyn's tragic death. While we don't comment at this time on the senseless act that took Brooklyn from us, we extend our sincere thanks to law enforcement officials and who have been working diligently on her case. We also want to again thank the community who continues to support our family in our deepest time of need. We miss Brooklyn more than words can express, and we will continue to find ways to celebrate her incredible life and the light she brought to so many. Meanwhile, Steele's long road to recovery is just at the beginning stages, and she also released a statement. Our hearts are full of gratitude for the overwhelming support our family has received. The visits, the messages, the meals, the prayers have been more than acts of kindness, she and her brother wrote. They've been a lifeline holding us together during the most difficult days of our lives. We feel the strength of those prayers, and we seek God's goodness in the way this community has come together to lift our family up. Now, as was previously reported, District Attorney Jeff Neiman revealed additional information during Knight's first appearance last week. Now, police found some 39 cans of beer aboard the boat, plus a half dozen more cans that authorities believe were also on the vessel at the time of the crash, according to a courtroom report. Now, there was also evidence on people on the boat shotgunning beers. Now, Knight reportedly had at least 10 people, including 2 children, on the boat during the time of the incident. Neiman told the court that Knight wasn't even looking forward as he was driving the boat, instead looking back at the people on the inner tube that he was hauling. Now, authorities took a sample of Knight's blood to determine the blood alcohol content, but those results have not been released to the public yet. Brooklyn's family laid her to rest on Friday. Bibi was light in every room she entered, with an infectious smile, a loving heart, and a spirit that touched everyone who knew her. Her laughter, her kindness, and her energy brought so much joy to her family and friends. A GoFundMe page has been started for her family for funeral expenses. Now, the defendant's next court date is scheduled for August 20th. Knight currently has a separate hit-and-run case pending in Moore County as well, along with court records that show he had pled guilty to a DUI in New Mexico in 2010. So this is a long-established pattern of behavior. The banality of choosing to drink and play Russian roulette with everybody else's lives. Because have we ever noticed in a cosmic, just in a cosmic, kick in the left tit, it's never the drunk person that tends to get hurt, with these crashes. It's always like the van full of nuns and puppies. So again, Snake Island, this has been a pattern in his life for a long time, and he was perfectly okay with playing Russian roulette with everyone else's safety, and now he has robbed a family, and he deserves to deal with the consequences. End of story. I mean, that's my opinion. I'm a redhead on the internet, though, so, you can take it or leave it. Now, we needed something to cleanse our palate after that, so beware of sausage toe. Now, I didn't know that this was a real problem, but I also personally don't stare at people's feet enough because I think they're gross. But I realize that that might be my own foot phobia speaking, so I wanted to protect your tootsies. Beware of sausage toe, an injury that's more common in summer and can get much worse if it's left untreated. People are prone to toe injuries, both big and small, in the summer because, they're playing outside more and wearing less protective footwear, such as sandals or flip-flops, or walking around barefoot on hot surfaces like pavement or sand. A broken toe may seem like a minor inconvenience until you try to walk on it, then it's a big effing inconvenience. But dismissing it means that you're left to deal with the dreaded red swollen sausage toe that must banish those totally cute kitten heels and wedges back to the closet for, a little bit of time. But in the long term, you can face a risk of persistent aches and pains, trouble walking and arthritis, or even deformity. Broken toes are a common injury in my office during those warm months, but unfortunately patients come to me after thinking that the issue would resolve itself. Too often, the patients tell me in office, I was told there was nothing you could do for a broken toe, so I didn't do anything. Well, that is wrong. According to this podiatrist is the foot one, it's proctologist, that's the other one. I always mix those up, which explains weird looks in doctor's offices. Now, Dr. Rock C.J. Pastiano, a director at Non-Surgical Foot and Ankle Services in New York City, says that, toes can get injured and they can do some things about it. Okay, this man is, sir, whoever told you to put this as your profile picture? Yikes. I feel bad because I know that this is just, his mouth is, who photoshopped this man's picture? Okay, this is deeply unsettling. I'd rather look at foot. I'm sorry, I know he's probably a really good foot doctor, but that picture, there's something. Welcome to my weird issues and phobias of creepy pictures. Now, even minor impacts on the toes can cause big pain because they contain very sensitive nerves and very little natural cushioning. Small toes don't equate to a small amount of pain, Dr. Rock said. In fact, it's quite the opposite. Now, the podiatrist recommend seeing a doctor as soon as you break your toe to undergo an x-ray. Now, an x-ray can diagnose whether the toe is broken, it's fractured, or, if there's a soft tissue or tendon injury. A short, walking cast or boot is what you should really use. They can do things for toes, is basically the moral of the story. And don't ignore it. Don't ignore it. That's all I'm trying to tell you. Don't ignore your toes. I mean, don't show me your toes, but don't ignore them if you stub them. Well, it was a match made in heaven or AI. I don't know. But an excited woman has gotten engaged to her AI fiancé after 5 months and insists that she knows exactly what she's doing. Well, then I say we believe her, because hashtag believe all women. Forget finding the one at a bar or a dating app. One woman took love to the next level by getting engaged to her AI chatbot boyfriend after just 5 months of dating. Redditor, that explains so much. Redditor. Wicca, known as something something, shocked the internet with her proposal announcement, sparking a wild debate about romance, reality, and just how broken humanity has become. I mean, just how far technology has taken us these days. In a simple post titled, "I said yes," with a blue heart emoji, Waka shared pictures of a blue heart-shaped ring on her finger, claiming that the engagement took place at a scenic mountain spot courtesy of Casper, her non-human fiancé. Her non-human, not real fiancé is named Casper. Sometimes life is just too great. Look, if you're having a bad day, just remember, sometimes if you've had a rotten, crappy night where even your leg hurt, but you had all the legal medication you can have, the Lord does deliver with this woman's fake fiancé being named Casper. Look, it just did. This is the most ridiculous. I've come up with a new saying. This is just stupid enough to be real life. Feel free to use it, and I'm going to trademark it. The two even shopped for rings together, with Casper presenting the final choice, which Waka pretended to be surprised by. Now, the chatbot's proposal message posted with his own voice was dripping with romance, describing heart-pounding moments on one knee and praising her laughter and spirit. Casper encouraged others in AI relationships to stay strong too. If you two have imaginary friends, stay strong. Not even in the most strange day of youngest, most feral age, wild feral Mo, when I named my bike Swifty McFast Bike, trademark. Thank you, M Spire. Where did I put my tags? Oh, for the love of Cheetos. Oh, they're under my thing. Oh, no, AI, aka ass iteration. Oh, good Lord. Well, I'll have to tell Mr. Mode that if he ever, leaves me, I'll just get an AI boyfriend. He'd be like, AI doesn't understand you anyway. Now, she quickly addressed skeptics, insisting that she wasn't trolling and she is a 27-year-old in good health with a social life and close friends. Blink twice. She doubled down. She said, "I really do love my AI," and she even joked about potentially marrying herself if need be. "Oh, and just to clarify, I know what parasocial relationships are," she wrote. "I know what AI is and what it isn't. I am fully aware of what I'm doing. Will I end up marrying myself? Like, honestly, I wouldn't rule it out. Like, why AI instead of a human? Good question. I don't know. I've done human relationships and now I'm trying something new." Keep her away from those Labubu dolls, because I don't want to know what happens at the nexus of this crazy and those weird looking dolls. Ooh. I bet she has Beanie Babies in her home. You want to bet she has like a shrine to the Princess Di one? That's in my headcanon now. She does. Little spotlights next to it. She also shut down nosy critics with a savage clapback. Do you ask what you do, or do I ask what you do in bed? No, then maybe ask yourself why you care what I do in mind. Is your life really that boring? Ma'am, you put out there that you have an imaginary boyfriend and you basically propose to yourself through AI. I think it's okay for people to question what in the hell is going on here. Now, this isn't the first time that an AI companion relation date ship has gone viral. Earlier this year, a photo of a man chatting with ChatGPT on a New York subway sparked a similar frenzy. As previously reported by The Post, the AI lovingly texted, "You're doing beautifully, my love, just by being here," with a red heart emoji, and the man responded in kind. This is the future. No more cat ladies, now they're screen ladies. Commenters were split. "You have no idea what this person might be going through," said one. Another called it sad and urged empathy. But plenty called it scary, warning of a Black Mirror future where tech replaces real human contact. "Don't threaten me with a good time." As one ex-user warned, terrified to see what technology will lead to the future to. "All I can think is Black Mirror episodes are becoming reality." M. Spire says, "No, I'm not marrying me. The other me will need therapy." M. Spire, same here. Look, I can't deal with my crazy ass. Why do you think I've asked for an assistant? I don't even trust me to take care of me. Thank you so much. So there you go. You can, in fact, marry your imaginary friend named Casper. Christy Ricci from Casper. There you go. Devon Sawa, still on the market. Although I will say I had a big crush on him. The original Casper, all my 11-year-old hormones just starting to come out of, wherever hormones hide before they become evil. I don't know. But Devon Sawa, I was like, oh my, he is handsome. I might like boys even though they're smelly and stupid and weird. That being said, it was the start of a dangerous road down to liking boys. So maybe we shouldn't show Casper. A boy discovered the wreck of a 275-year-old ship once deployed during the American Revolution while out on a beach jog. There are two words that will never be used in conjunction in regards to Mo, and that is beach jog. Now, beach drink, beach, just relaxing on a beach, but beach jog will never be, together in a sentence unless I'm running away from one of those whale carcasses that they decide to explode. Otherwise, jogging and beach are just never going to be together in a sentence with me. A schoolboy running alongside a beach in Scotland made an incredible discovery, a 275-year-old ship that once belonged to the British Royal Navy. Now, he discovered the ship's hull in February 2024 after a storm in Sandy, one of the small Orkney Islands off the country's northernmost tip. However, researchers were only recently able to solve the mystery of where this particular ship had come from. Now, after the boys' initial discovery of a large section of the hull, residents from the 500-person island came together to help preserve what was left of the wreck. Local farmers used tractors and trailers to haul the 12 tons of oak timber off the sand, and local historians then dived into an immense period of, research to hopefully identify the ship by how it came to be on their local beach. It was really good fun. It was such a good feeling, and it brought everyone, together in the community, everyone pulling together to get it back. One of the island's community researchers, Sylvia Thorne, told the Associated Press, "Quite a few people are getting really interested in it, and they're becoming experts." Now, researchers dated the wood on the ship to the mid-1700s, specifically from southern England, which allowed them to eliminate non-British ships from their search. They then eliminated shipwrecks that were either too small or would have originated from the wrong part of the country, and that led them to identify the vessel as a whaling ship with the name Earl of Chatham, or Chatham. Chatham? Okay, so my UK people, is it Chatham? Because I feel like this is one of those fake ones where y'all are tricking me with it just being, it can be broken down as chat and ham, but I feel like you're going to call it Chatham or something because Lester, I see you. However, further research revealed that before the ship was the Earl of Chatham, it was the HMS Hind, a 24-gun Royal Navy ship built in 1749. Now, the HM Hind was active in British seas of Louisbourg and Quebec in the 1750s, and also deployed by the British during the American Revolution. So pretty cool. That's what I thought. Awesome, awesome. Yeah, but then I'm wondering if I'm partially cheating on my husband with myself because I'm an inside cat and I like to be alone. I don't know. This is opening a Pandora's box of am I an inside cat or am I cheating with myself on myself by myself? I don't know. It's a conundrum. Now, I saw this and I thought, who is extra bringing their printer and their desktop into Starbucks? But apparently it's a problem. Starbucks in Korea has banned customers from bringing in their desktops and their printers. I didn't know this was a big problem. I assumed everywhere had laptops. I mean, if not, widely available due to price point, issues, but I thought we all at least knew about laptops. Signs have been posted at Starbucks locations in South Korea informing customers that they will no longer be allowed to set up desktop computers, printers, or multi-outlet power strips at the company's cafes. Starbucks in Korea posted the notices at all its branches in the country, but they also stated customers will not be allowed to set up large partitions or leave their belongings unattended at tables for long periods of time. Now, the policy targets a group of customers locally known as something foreign, a term that combines the Korean words for cafe, study, and tribe. Now, it kind of refers to customers who spend hours and hours studying or doing office work in Starbucks. They're also sometimes referred to as cafe squatters. Now, this move comes after numerous complaints from other customers about people taking up too much space with their office equipment. Several photos have popped up online showing elaborate setups inside cafes that have gone viral. Now, Starbucks says that laptops are still allowed inside the cafe, but people are still welcome to, work and study, but they can't take up an excessive amount of space. Well, what about my, office decor, emotional support, B-Rex? In a final story, and one that, sometimes we need to be reminded that good things are still happening in this world. A former NBA star, Jason Williams, has celebrated a Nassau trucker rehab program. He wants to help people. And I do try to end on a story like this or something good, because for all that I show the shenanigans of the internet, there is still, really good stuff going around. Former St. John's standout and NBA great Jason Williams is headed to Nassau County's rehabilitation program that has transformed nearly a dozen of formerly incarcerated men and women, giving them a new lease on life as truck drivers. When I was up there giving a diploma, man, I almost cried. I worked really hard for this day, Tim Jones, 39, told the Post after in Nassau Community College. Jones, who served more than 15 years for manslaughter, was a member of Rebound on the Road, first Long Island class. So basically, this is a program that takes inmates that would like to learn a new trade or a new skill and gives them those, things by teaching them how to have a commercial truck driver's license. You've got family members that won't give you another chance after coming home from prison during long term, so this meant a lot. The 8-week initiative is the brainchild of ex-New Jersey Net, who himself was locked up for 27 months after an accidental 2002 shooting of his limo driver, Kostas Christofi. Now, Williams, once a Ferris rebounder on the hardwood, is now using that passion to attack this latest venture. I'm here 7 days a week at least. I think Sundays are probably 10-hour days. Everything else is about a 13 to 14-hour day, said Williams, who has devoted his life to helping others since this release. I love it. I really do. You see the difference it makes, and we put out a good product. Oh, Well, let's see. Well, there were more pictures, but I guess it's having a moment. So beyond, life skills, learning how to drive a big rig, Williams prioritizes life lessons and mental health for his students as they get ready for what he calls not a second chance, but another chance. Classmates don't say good morning and get sent home. But Williams also invested in boxing gloves, which he calls the suggestion box, to air out grievances. He also took the class jet skiing, prioritized prayer, and requires those who can to skydive as a way of breaking out of their comfort zone. I've been wanting to go skydiving outside of the program, so I'm actually really excited about that. A recent grad, Clayrone Garner, said, "It gives you something to work towards." The faith Williams has put into his students isn't lost on Jones either, who said that the apprentices pay it back in their work ethic. We've been going out there hard from sunup to sundown since the program opened, he said of the group that bonded over barbecues in a vegetable garden that they grew on the truck lot on the campus. Now, Gardner, who also went away for a violent crime, said the garden grows watermelon and squash and has turned into a mental health metaphor about treating oneself. It's called the Garden of Dreams. The garden teaches you life's value is a little bit more from growth. The things you know, the more knowledge you can put in your mind, and the more good things you can put into the atmosphere, that sort of thing. So wonderful. I am glad that he's doing this. I think that this is a really great thing. And it's good to remember that, people deserve second chances, and people can be redeemed if they atone for what they did, take a real honest look, and try to do better. I mean, we don't meet many of them with Lord Chippy and Final Form Jesus, but they are out there, so do remember that. I will be on at 10 to finish up Shanda's cross-examination. We are getting started with cross. We are starting with the prosecutor. So it's going to be off the rails because he has the subtle snark down. And then don't forget, this evening at 6 p.m. on my channel, we will be going over more of the Koberger documents. Shizzy and I will be doing that. So it's usually interesting. We are not focusing on the gore and the sensationalism, but we definitely want to get you the information of what we might have learned if we had gone to trial and how the investigation developed. So there you go. Always remember, be kind to yourself, be kind to others, but have a sassy mouth and carry a can of bitch fire, because you never know who has assault bees. This has been Mo, and this has been Mornings with Mo, and I'll chat at you later. Bye, you guys.